This sweatshirt's too yellow.
No, I like yellow. Bam, we're live. This CEO hat. I wish I had it in yellow. I think there is a yellow one.
Yeah,
What do you think? Why'd you get it?
that is
Where'd
a
you get it?
yellow. Oh, I bought a Rogue sweatshirt a while back, like this khaki one I had, and I just
Uh-huh.
loved like the weight of it, and like it was a lighter weight sweatshirt. And then I just found out the product order, and I ordered these off Amazon, and they're $20.
Oh, what do you mean you found the product order? You found the blanks.
Yeah,
How'd you
that
do that?
I just looked at the back, and it was just the Bella tag, and I just typed it into Amazon, and then these popped up.
Damn. And does it
Yeah,
feel
so
the same?
exactly the same.
That would be killer right there if it said Sevan Podcast on it.
That's what I'm saying. So I got yellow, black, and blue.
Oh, I like that. That's smart.
Yeah.
I was actually wondering. I was like, I wonder if he got. Oh, look, Matt O'Keefe gone through transition. Marie O'Keefe. We have Matt O'Keefe on Sunday morning. God, I'm excited to catch up with him.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I took Robitussin last night,
Oh,
and I took
that's unusual
Robitussin
for you.
hoping that it would get me better sleep, so I could sleep through the night. But instead, it kind of I felt like it put me into like a zombie state.
Oh, weird.
You know, like I felt I wasn't really asleep. I was kind of like having this out of body experience, and I was kind of like looking at my face, at my lips. It was so weird. Sevy, your voice is sexy. Yes, sick Sevy.
Yeah, it's definitely got a nice tone to it.
Thank you.
Not like a sick, but like a
I,
soothe.
I wonder if my brain is like going to be off. Like if I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like if I'm drugged up, if I'm not going to have the clarity, I'm feeling a little insecure.
Oh, good. I like that.
Not because there's any signs that I'm off, but just in case I might be off.
Right.
How many shows have we done with Greg now?
This has got to be close to 30. Was it numbered? This one's not numbered, but the ones before were.
Oh, I just got an email from Broken Science.
Oh, nice. The article of the week.
It just says, Broken Science community, predictive power, a measure of probability, is at the heart of broken science. Oh, that makes me so happy to hear that, because that's when I think of it, that's like my most basic understanding. I got it right.
You nailed it.
Predictive power. Hey, we got a text from Greg at 5:41 this morning. Hi, Caleb.
Good morning.
We got a text from Greg this morning at 5:41 saying I'm ready, which makes me think that maybe he was off an hour. Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Hey.
Hey.
Were you off an hour this morning?
Yeah, maybe at 4 in the morning I was for a moment.
Okay, because I got a text from you at 5:41 saying link, and I'm like, I wonder if he switched time zones.
Yeah, I switch time zones every day.
Hey, what's up with the horse?
It's a lamp.
Oh no!
That thing is a lamp?
Yeah.
What's it made of? Wow, is it made of clay or a cloth?
It's cloth, and the whole thing glows.
Can you touch it from where you're sitting?
No.
Oh, it's weird. It looks like you can.
It's probably 6-7 feet behind me.
Oh wow!
And where's the light bulb?
Inside it. It would have to be. It's not outside of it. That's about all I know.
The files are in the computer.
Yeah.
And Greg, the light comes out of the nostrils, or I don't get it.
You know what? I don't think I've had it on.
Okay.
It was odd. I've mostly just been trying to protect it from the kids.
Okay. Yeah. If I was there, you'd have to protect it from me too. You know how I can get. I want to touch it.
You just pull it right off the wall.
Yeah.
He's a fiddler. He's a fiddler.
I just got an email from BSI, and I just love the opening sentence right here. I just got it 4 minutes ago. Dear BSI community, predictive power and measure of probability is at the heart of broken science. That means I'm starting to get it, because that's, if someone asked me, I wouldn't say it that cleanly, but that's what I'd say.
Yeah, this event's going to be themed predictability, prediction, and but on subsequent runnings, we're going to be able to do this around uncertainty, certainty as distinguished from certainty, randomness, chance. All these things need exploring and discussing, because our common sense of them is contrary to how the world works. So it's fun stuff. It's neat. We have at our fingertips material that, in terms of its technicality, require just some modicum of capacity in elementary algebra. I'm talking about, 3 months in for a C student. That's a C student due to their interest. They're not trying their hardest. It's just how it rolls, right? Your average algebra student, 3 months in, plus a half-hour introduction to conditional probabilities and some rudiments of logic and some definitions. We can embark on a study of applied mathematics with that minimum requirement. I'm talking about something we can give 7-year-olds, 7th graders, your average 7th grader. You can explore applications of math in the real world that are as beautiful and as profound as anything that you study differential equations or take upper division or graduate math. It's as beautiful and practical an application of mathematics with as much of the philosophical glow, power, and universe widening potential of anything studied in math at any level. And that's pretty cool. That's crazy cool.
But by the way, congratulations. I'm seeing that Emily, your partner in crime on the Broken Science, was on Ken Berry's podcast yesterday.
How was she?
I haven't seen it yet, but I just found out about it, and it's getting a shit ton of views.
Good.
It's already up over 31,000 views. It's a live show.
Wow.
Yeah, it's exciting. What a great way to get the message out.
Yeah, she gets it. She's powerful. She's beautiful, powerful. There's a bunch of us that have been looking at these things for a long time. And for a lot of people, their entree to the world of broken science was along the areas of nutrition or exercise science or medicine. And so you kind of come to the light through some portal, and there's a crazy world there where it leads you eventually to realize that the bulk of academic science is complete bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
This is off subject a little bit. Does anyone know why my comments are on the side like that? I don't want them on the side like that. All of a sudden,
I think it's the setting you have down at the bottom where there's the gear and then there's all those little boxes.
You do you see it right now on my screen?
Yeah, you got to go down to the actual video.
This.
And I think but to the right of that.
One of these things?
Yeah.
One of the pick. No, that no.
Are you sure?
I clicked all those already.
Oh.
I don't know how my shit got all wonky like that.
Hey, can you just pinch it in or out? Is there something you can click on to kill it?
No, I don't see any.
It doesn't slide out left or right. You can't expand the part you like to push that out.
I'm trying.
Usually if you pinch real hard, it'll stop.
God, this sucks. So no one else is like this. This isn't something YouTube didn't just push everyone's comments to the right. That's just my jackass shit.
Yeah.
Someone said turn it off and back on. Here's the thing. It's on all my computers now like this.
That's how it is on mine too.
It's over on the...
I think it's a new YouTube layout.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, because then you get all the video suggestions and then you have the comments along the side. Because it used
see.
to be where all of the video suggestions were just an endless scroll down the side.
Yeah.
You can endless scroll through all the comments if you really want to.
Yeah, I don't want the comments on the side. I don't like them written small like that. Okay, so it's not me.
No, I think it's everybody.
It's probably some new beta. Dude, this video with Emily already has 291 comments. For the most recent comment is where's part 2?
Good job. Yeah. It's amazing.
Good job.
Yeah. This is killer. Yo, yeah, let's do a part 2.
Oh yeah, yes, part 2. There's a third one in there. Wow.
Send me a link to that, Sevi.
Okay. I will.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's amazing. Our we have an incredible partnership, and there's a crazy amount of independence to it. You know, we really it's a classical conspiracy where the left hand need not know what the right hand's doing, and yet you're working in clear concert. I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah,
The
that's awesome.
the going back to what you were just saying, the tools that broken science provides people can be applied to anything, need to be applied to anything. It's basically unfucking people's thinking, right?
Yeah, the brokenness of science, it probably has its most outward manifestation in studies that won't replicate, but the part that's broken, I mean, that's some downstream sequela there. The part that's broken, it's been an epistemic debasement. So the epistemology is broken. And to unfuck it, we have to have some fundamental discussions as to things like interpretations of probability. We need to go over the demarcation problem. We need to talk about induction and deduction and give it some modern world definitions. It's pretty cool stuff. And it's entirely in keeping with the classical education, with the trivium and the quadrivium of old times. So, in fact, in my own efforts with my kids, what I'm doing is I'm building a base in a qualitative reasoning through language, logic. We'll take that into plausibility, and on the quantitative analysis, it's traditional math that goes up through arithmetic, algebra, geometry, analysis, and beyond. But there's a point where in the qualitative analysis, we're looking at plausibility after induction and deduction. And the quantitative side, we're in probability theory. And then the next step for both is probability theory as logic. And we get into a whole different philosophy of science. And it's actually a philosophy of science that's consistent with information theory, which is, God, what a nice thing. I would offer that any philosophy of science that wasn't consistent with the science of information theory is fatally flawed, and indeed it is. That's low hanging fruit.
Is information theory, is that something really broad, or that's something that's defined?
It's very well defined, and it's originally the work of Claude Shannon in his 20s, in a master's thesis. Offered up some science that is as profound as any science ever done anywhere. It's on a par with anything offered by Newton or Einstein in terms of practical consequences. I remember Brian Mulvaney asked my father once if he knew of Claude Shannon. He says, I don't think I've worked on a project the past 30 years that did lie in part depend on the work of Shannon. If you watch TV, you owe Claude Shannon a thank you. And he actually gave a mathematical definition to information, and gave information, quantified it in the sense that it is a characteristic of data, much the way that density or velocity or made a fundamental unit. It's a fascinating work and of indescribable value, and that's been added to in recent times. So I'm way into the deep on here. It's kind of fun to come into a forum like this and talk about it and then launch to the back of the material. But our point is, the broken science point is that we can march youngsters towards a better understanding of, let me just give you one real world example. There's a Wikipedia article on confusion of the inverse. And there's an example given there of some stats around malignancy, and these guys asked 100 physicians what the odds are of the positive test being there we go, confusion of the inverse. It's great. In the footnote 4 there, they actually took 100 physicians through that and asked them, based on the fundamental values around the 2x2 matrix on that thing, what are the odds of a positive test, meaning that you have cancer? And 95 of 100 physicians said it was 75%, and the truth is it's 7.5%.
Will you show that? We scroll back up a little bit, Caleb, to the 2x2 grid, I think that Greg's referencing. Is it the second one or the first one?
Yeah, right there. right there. And so this is just basic stuff. It's just that 2x2 matrix on a binary diagnostic disease kind of thing. We got a test in a disease, whether you either have it or you don't, and you're either positive or you're not, and it's tested against some gold standard typically. But when presented with this data, these 100 physicians were asked, what are the odds that this guy's got cancer given this data? And 95 of 100 said 75%. And the actual calculation is 7.5%. And the problem is these physicians have confused the probability of testing positive given that you have cancer. They've confused that for the probability of having cancer given that you've tested positive. And so the probability of A given B isn't the same as the probability of B given A. That's a confusion of the inverse. And that's something that you give me a week with a classroom of kids, and I'll get them sensitive to that. It wouldn't take 3 months to get 7th graders that if you gave them this 2x2 matrix and asked them to do the arithmetic, they would come out with 7.5%, and they would understand that they can't go upstream against the probability. They can't reason from the inverse. And the applications of this to the rest of philosophy of science are profound. That's why we're here. I've just picked this as a place to kick down the door and let the team into the compound.
Greg, is this the example you gave me about the rain and the wedding also?
Yes.
Do you remember that one that you gave me?
No, but I just in the particulars.
And this is basically these are the types of, this is basically the foundation of broken science.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's correct. But the errors made here in this particular fallacy will take me a long way and get me deep into explaining what got fucked up on p-values too. And it's the problem of trying to take the probability of data and draw inference on a hypothesis while assiduously denying that the probability of a hypothesis has meaning. We're not going to do all this here today. My promise in the broken science thing is that we can, in an afternoon, put you on a course of learning that in baby steps and over time will take you to somewhere profound. And that profundity would begin with the single moment. I think just realizing what a conditional probability is and that you can't make the mistake of the inverse is really important. I would be introducing conditional probability and deduction and induction and plausibility to children as soon as I can. And the message of broken science is that the failure, and that looks like bullshit cures and setting yourself up for unprecedented and unlimited fraud. Because remember, the epistemic break in the science nourishes, attracts, and conceals science that doesn't work. And the way you do that is you substitute the validation through the predictive strength of models with a consensus in p-values. And it's kind of hard to unfuck someone on what's wrong with p-values in a single sitting, but it would be possible to bake into a elementary or middle school education enough training to make it so that it would be a 5-minute explanation as to what's wrong with the p-value.
Yeah, Greg, are you planning? Is there any thoughts about making some of these things into courses and making them?
Yeah,
available?
absolutely. In fact, the CrossFit curriculum, these the lectures and the material and the notes, the precipitate was the filmed level ones, out of which derived the training manual. It's a process that's a little counterintuitive, I think, and other than the way people think it might work. But out of this, we'll develop a textbook and a curriculum. Someone needs to make a science book for kids with a whopping dose of applied elementary mathematics and logic.
And so is this almost kind of like following a similar footprint of the L1 where you're giving the lectures, you're doing these events, and then in hindsight, you're building the courses?
Embarrassingly so. Embarrassingly so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we kind of are watching the roadmap of these courses almost as the same kernel that it was and how
Without a
profound that
doubt.
was. That's
It was
amazing.
like, I have been here before.
Yeah. And could I ask you a dumb question real quick?
Anything. I don't think there are any dumb questions. There's such a start over here in the way we think about things. Like simple things like, does the 50-50 inhere in the penny or in our uncertainty?
Mm.
And the implications are profound. They're profound. What is the demarcation? What is that thing that divides the scientific from the non-scientific? The academics will tell you it's falsification. The Supreme Court thinks it's falsification. That is part of the wrong turn. And the wrong turn, I argue, I can make the point that it is perhaps the greatest unforced intellectual error in the history of human beings, of mankind.
Mm.
Go ahead.
And let me tell you what happened. What happened was academics and academic philosophy of science chose the pursuit of certainty as a philosophy of science, and success came through the management of uncertainty, through probability theory, especially probability theory as logic.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where the wrong turn came, and we're paying for it today. Big
time. You're seeing all that because it's trickling down into policies, and then we saw a couple years back that science then turns into ways that our lives are being governed, and everybody's following line due to appeal to authority because they don't understand it and they don't know how to unravel it or use their own discernment against it. In the Daubert decision, the Supreme Court, hook, line, and sinker, swallowed academia's view of science, and it's created a mess of unprecedented proportions. What it does is it means that anyone who uses the courts to challenge shitty science will quickly find themselves up against peer review and the normative standard that has embraced this dangerous whatever it is, and you'll lose standing in court. You don't have expertise anymore. And this is something that RFK Jr. has spoken about quite eloquently. This is a subject very dear to him, and I know it was something that was of huge concern to my father too. Yeah. And the Supreme Court made a colossal intellectual error, and it's not unknown. Hey, this problem with p-values. Let me explain something. The gripe against p-values is 90 years old. Their implementation is about 70 years old. The problem with p-values was well understood, well articulated long before their adoption. And the null hypothesis significant testing, the NHST, and sometimes it's null hypothesis significance testing procedure, but that NHST and the p-values is not even an accepted method in mathematics or statistics. It was adopted by psychology departments and textbooks on statistics in psychology.
Meaning it doesn't work. If math and statistics won't accept it, it means it doesn't work.
It's not legitimate. It creates for a fact over certainty. We talk about the replication crisis, and that's simply that we repeat these studies and we can't get the same data. We can't come to the same conclusions. Mm-hmm. The most dangerous science will indeed be that does replicate. In other words, you set up the experiment, you get some data, you do your NHST ritual with the p-values, and you get a good p-value. Something can have a good p-value and still be of low probability in terms of the hypothesis.
Right.
In fact, one way to get the p-value you want is just increase your sample size. With a big enough sample size, you'll get the p-value you want. And you tell me the p-value you need, and I'll tell you what sample size you need to get it.
And then you can make it
easily.
I just need to know what the
readily,
p-value is.
The line is readily jiggered.
What question were you going to ask, Souza?
Well, a lot of what we're talking about too boils down to math quite a bit, and so this is going to take this way out into left field. But I wanted to get your opinion on this, Greg. Was math invented or discovered?
Invented. Clearly.
Do I need to go back and take algebra again for this course, or
if your algebra's solid, you're good.
Oh, so I need to take it again.
Yeah, we'll make a video soon here, just walk you through a 2x2 matrix where we got a disease, you have it or you don't by some gold standard. Now we have a test for it, and the test is positive or negative. And so you look that out, and what are the possibilities? You can have it and be positive, or have it and be negative. You cannot have it and be positive, not have it and be negative. And we can just play with this and start doing some elementary algebra. And I can get you very quickly to a point where we can calculate the probability of being positive, having a disease. But then we're also going to come to see that that's not the same thing as the number. That's not the same thing as the probability of having the disease having tested positive. And we can bring you to the point quickly, like, what does it do for you if you test positive for something? Suppose you take an AIDS test and it comes back positive, or suppose you think you're worried you have AIDS, right? And so you go and take a test, and you get your test results back. What's important to you? Do you want a number? Do you want to know what the odds are of you having AIDS, having tested positive? Or do you want to know, I have AIDS, what are the odds I'm going to test positive? Which is really something you're after. Let me put it this way. If you have AIDS, if you know for a fact you have AIDS, are you really interested in going out and getting tested to see if you're positive or negative?
No.
If you test positive, are you concerned whether you have it or not?
No, you have it.
Well, you tested positive, maybe not, because you can test positive and not have it.
Right. Yes. Like a strep test. Like you can take a strep
well, if you don't know whether you have AIDS or not and you test positive, you definitely want to know the validity of the test.
This is an odd thing to do without a chalkboard, but I'll tell you, you've got some choices here. And you've got a true positive and a false positive and a true negative and a false negative. And they each have different ramifications psychologically, and it's kind of hard to make value decisions on them. But one of the things we come to see quickly, if you think about it at all, is that a false positive has a damage that's probably different than a false negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Imagine you go to get tested for AIDS and it says, "No, you're good, man," but you don't really have it. That could be really dangerous, right? You could spread it.
You mean if it says you don't have it and you do have it, is what you meant?
Yeah, that's right. It says, you got it's a false negative. It says you don't, you actually do.
Right.
Yeah.
And how about the false positive? How about being told you do when you don't?
Right.
And how do you trade those? How many people told they don't have something when they do is justifies the number of people told that they don't have it. That they do have it when they don't. I'll use the specific example of mammography. Your positive mammogram, there's only a 7% chance that you have breast cancer.
Wow.
Even though it's positive.
Wow.
So how many people have been told that they have breast cancer and they really don't have breast cancer?
They're told they're positive and they go home, and what is the impact? It's enormous. And this is one of the, and that's a particular diagnostic test where that's one of the good ones. That's one of the strong tests.
Wow.
Where I've got a 7% true positive.
So that means that people are having surgeries.
No, they're going to biopsies. They go to the next phase. There's other tests. There's an ultrasound that can be combined with it. I mean, on and on. But you're in the system now.
Yeah.
And financially, both work out well for the tester.
Right.
Because then you need further testing.
We do further testing, and we find out you don't look at the economics of the tests that say that has a perfectly high its power or its selectivity is super high, sensitivity rather. So you've got a super sensitive test that returns 100%. It's everyone tested is positive, right? And that way you don't miss any, right?
That was like the COVID test, like the COVID
yeah,
test.
everyone's
Everybody's got
positive.
it.
Yeah,
Test
the
numbers through
the
the roof.
PCR test can give everyone can diagnose anyone with anything.
So I recommend you take a test, and everyone gets positive, and now you're told, I'm sorry, you haven't, and we're going to need additional testing, which I'm also going to let you pay me for. And on additional testing, you either find out, yeah, indeed you do. Our first considerations were great, and I'm glad we found this early, or we find out you don't, and you're happy as fuck.
Yeah.
Grace Padanod, good morning. Thank you. Very generous. Thank you.
And it gets really crazy when they start basing if you could go outside, or if you could run your business, or if you could take your kids to the park based off positive test results. So when you take what Greg just said and then anchor that into a real world example of what we just lived through not that long ago, a couple years back here in California, they were basing off if we could live our lives off these positive test rate numbers. And now we just heard that the whole thing could potentially have been a sham.
Well, it was worse than even at this level of analysis. The 2x2 matrix on where you have the disease, you don't, you test positive or not. That whether you have it or not is established by some gold standard, and so it's against a gold standard that we assess the quality of a test. And the COVID test, the PCR test, got an emergency provisional use authorization, an EPUA, because the 2x2 matrix hadn't been completed. That is, we didn't know what the true positive, false positive, true negative, false negative were for that thing, because there was no gold standard that could be publicly admitted to against which they were testing. And
Insane.
At the end of the emergency provisional use, they should have. The policy was historically that you'd now no longer been able to use that thing because the emergency provisional use authorization expired. And what happened is they didn't complete the 2x2 matrix. There still isn't a what you'd call a scientific test, and yet they didn't stop using it. And so we have something that's not even an EPUA. And I think the problem is the test may be better than they could admit to, because the test may be working against the known blueprints of the virus. In other words, the whole issue of a gold standard could be related to the sequence of this virus, and the sequencing seemed to be known long ahead of any science that demonstrated its sequencing. And the science that was presented as demonstrating the sequencing was all spectacularly deficient in that the steps for isolation ahead of lysing and doing the genetic assay were missing from those studies. So what we think happened is that someone was given the blueprints of the virus. Look, we don't need to isolate it and sequence it because we fucking made it. Does that make sense?
Just call the people at the lab.
Yeah. And so now the science
reverse engineer this.
Where it was analyzed looks weird, and our test looks weird, and I think we know why now.
Yep.
Hey, there was also the statistics that that 80% of the people who had it were asymptomatic, and there's got to be some mathematical relevancy to that. That once something is 80% asymptomatic, it doesn't. All sorts of other things go out the door. Meaning, you just have to presume everyone has it, and you can't do anything to stop it. There has to be some logic there.
Yeah, infection and transmission absent symptoms is certainly a phenomenon of increasing occurrence due to vaccine. In fact, there's been a unspoken, it seems, effort to drive vaccines to do exactly that, to mitigate symptoms and not reduce transmission.
Yep. Hey, Greg, I want to go back to the coin thing. So if someone says, hey, I'm going to flip this coin, is it going to be heads or tails? And there's a practical sense to say it's 50-50. So you guess tails the first time, it lands on heads, you're wrong, and then you flip it the next time and you're going to guess the opposite of whatever you guessed the first time, right? Because there's a 50-50 chance. We all quote unquote know that, practically speaking. But what you're saying is it's not if you want to talk about truth, it's not a 50-50% chance that you could it's actually the flipper, because you could theoretically build a machine that flipped a coin exactly the same every time and it would land on the same side, right? And that's vital to understanding the truth as opposed to what's practical. And all these people are falling on the side of practical. I'm trying to give it a layman explanation of how someone like me can understand it. If you want to understand odds, it's just not true that it's 50-50.
Probability. The most useful probability is epistemic. It's a rational metric of what we know. And Briggs did that cool thing where he wrote down the number. He said it was between 1 and 5, or 0 and 5,
mm-hmm.
and then asked people to take a guess as to what it was, and asked them also to state why they made their guess.
Mm-hmm.
And what he did was had a whole bunch of different guesses, and he thought that they were all good because they were conditional probabilities and they were based on some assumption that was made, true or false, the assumption right or not, they were based on that assumption. And what we know is that the 1 in 6 of a die isn't a random event. There's something about the toss, air temperature, the surface it hits, the way it hit. If all of that physics were controlled or understood, it wouldn't be unknown.
Mm-hmm.
And so the 1 in 6 isn't a quality of the die. It's a measure of our uncertainty. It's what we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that would change with enough exposure too. But when we talk about, you see this all the time in probability theory, they start with you're given a fair die. And what that means is that the long range limiting frequency is going to be 1 on 6 per side. Each side is equal. And what you're doing is removing all of the physics from the problem. You're turning it into purely a math thing and not a physics thing. But in the real world, things work very different from that. Mm-hmm. And along those lines, I know Janes and Briggs both know people that have made coin flipping apparatus that they can get 60, 70, 80% heads or tails depending on the setup of the machine.
Wow. That's interesting. I don't know if this is under the same thread, but it popped into my mind when casinos put up next to the roulette tables what the previous ones were. The increase in people gambling at the roulette table went up tenfold because they could see, oh, the last 3 times it was black, so it's got to be red this time. The odds are in my favor.
Check this out. To metric any proxy around gambling, so like the density of the felt, the air temperature, air density, any of that is a felony in Vegas.
Because it's all going to change the physics, which will change the probability and outcome, and it might swing out of their favor.
It'll take it from the unknown into the known, and someone's going to get rich.
Let's use that example.
Yeah.
So if
they don't want you counting cards, they don't want you taking the temperature of the room, they don't want you doing a density test on the felt, and they don't know which of those would even work, but they don't think that it's magic.
Yep. That's incredible. Yeah, same with the weight of the dice. And in fact, if you're at a craps table, different than the roulette, if you start rolling the dice and stacking them in a certain way, and they see that you have a stroke and it's rolling in the same way, the pit boss will literally come over to you and say, hey, I want to see some more action on the dice. Give it a real roll like this and then toss it, because they realize you're having some element of potential control, because if you could just map the way that you're throwing it, have some consistency there, again, the odds will swing into your favor. So they'll force you to change it.
My dad and a friend used to go to Harrah's and Tahoe because they weren't as savvy there as they were in Vegas, and neither he nor his friend were known to the casino operators in Harrah's.
Yeah.
They would go in and take $10,000 and get a handful of chips, which makes them big spenders, and now everything's free.
Yep.
And they would count cards until they could leave with more chips than they came in with, and they wouldn't cash them in until the next trip. And they were able to do this for several years before it fell apart.
Yeah.
And what are these guys doing? They're bringing some extraordinarily rudimentary knowledge into the system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Increasing
But
their
it's
ability
useful.
to predict it. Yeah.
But
Which
it's
is why they
useful,
don't do single deck blackjack anymore.
That's right.
Oh, to complicate the card counting?
It's like 3 decks and it's in a shoe. Mm-hmm.
My dad would sit down at a table and they'd introduce another deck. Each hand they'd throw another deck in until he'd go to a different table.
What does that mean? It's in a shoe, Souza. What's that mean?
So it's like a big like stack where all the cards sit and they just pull them out of there. So it's not a 52 card deck anymore. You got like 100 and 156 cards. Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
So they load it with multiple decks in there. And
Look,
then
that one's called 8 deck security.
Yeah, and then to Greg's point, what they'll even do sometimes is, depending on how the table's going, they'll pull all those cards out, open 3 new packs, shuffle it, and then put 3 new in the shoe just right within the same sitting.
Wow.
You know, what we're doing here together is we're looking at probability from the gaming side, which clearly shows that knowledge changes odds, and dramatically so. Laplace, I believe, took all probability in terms of saw it as wagers. Maybe it wasn't Laplace. But it's a helpful way to see these things.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why when we were talking about the coin flip, that came to mind. And I was like, I think this will help anchor it for people, because when you see it through the lens of a casino, all of a sudden everything like comes back into alignment. But then you take the same things that you were talking about, and now we apply that to science and academia, and people could realize, oh, everything is stacked in their favor in order to give them the results that they're looking for.
That's just casino math, Souza. That has nothing to do with science.
Look up the coin flip requirements in the NFL.
Hey, so Claude Shannon invented the
interesting.
Claude Shannon invented the ones and O's that computers use?
Yeah, it formalized theory that had him claiming correctly that if it's information, it can be depicted in ones and zeros.
Wow.
Hey, I want to shift here a second to how that can be, how understanding this in its relationship to, I don't know if the term is cognitive dissonance, but let me give you an example. Former President of the United States, Donald Trump, would say something along the lines like, Mexico is not sending us its good citizens, it's sending us its murderers and rapists. And then someone would jump to the conclusion that he's racist. Is there a relationship between being able to think clearly between what you're presenting and not making that jump?
The view of science that we hold is that it's an extension of logic, language, and mathematics. And so, part of the problem there is the beauty of a term like racism that's undefined. I got called a racist by media outlets and lawyered up fast, and I was gonna get what I could for that, and I instantly ran into the problem that there is no legal definition of racism. And so it's kind of like you say you're a caca, and you take them to court and sue them, and you got a big problem. No one knows what a fucking caca is.
You're a bird in the Amazon. I'm quite familiar with it.
And the other problem is that I'd already been ruled by a judge as a famous person, and that changes in New York and in California radically the standards for going after someone for saying you're a caca or a rapist, which is defined. And in fact, you have to prove that their intent was ill will, or you'll end up paying for their efforts to fuck you.
Wow. And it's impossible to do that.
It's called a slap. It's called a slap thing. It was to protect media, to protect the New York Times and LA Times, so they could print absurd shit and suffer no consequences. but it would be a very real problem in suing someone at the New York Times for pronouncing you to be a rapist.
Wow.
Because that can be defined.
Well, I'm saying that one can, but being famous makes it hard.
Oh, okay. SLAP is an acronym for Strategic Lawsuit Against Public Participation. The term was coined in the 1980s by two University of Denver professors who co-authored SLAPs, getting sued for speaking out.
It becomes a tool for media to say anything they wish about you.
Mm-hmm.
And they can just say, "Oh, my bad, I was wrong," and you'd have to show that not only that you'd have to show in the usual standards it was false and they know it, but you'd have to show that it was false, that they knew it, and that they were trying to hurt you.
Yeah, that's a lot of bases to cover.
It's weird. It gets weird instantly. It
Wow.
reduces the court calendar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So here we go, Greg. Here's the thing that I heard this week that really puts a huge scramble in the mix. So AI is getting filled with what we know. We know that editors and CEOs of the biggest medical journals in the world and most prestigious are saying, "Hey, we think 50% of the shit in our journals is wrong." And they wouldn't, the default position on anything you read in a medical journal should be it's not true. We're hearing really big names in the space say that, things that you've shown me, taught me, people you've introduced me to. Now AI is taking all of this information as truth and pumping it out to the public. The public's asking AI questions, and it's just it's kind of the dumbest. AI is like the dumbest person in society to ask a question of.
Yeah,
It could
I
be
like
catastrophic.
Briggs says computers and AI are gonna take over the world right after a room full of calculators does, or abacuses. Those shitty Gemini results came up. You know what they did? They're nothing but a perfect reflection of the way those twits at Google think. They fucking think George Washington was black. Those dumb twats think that. George Washington's good, right? Black's good. Black people are good. White people are bad. Yeah, you got to make it. I mean, the computers just the problem is their algorithms smarter than they are.
They think that if they can make the Little Mermaid black, that they can make George Washington black. There's a complete disconnect between reality and their imagination. Business Insider: Google's under attack in the wake of its woke AI disaster. You know, I have something on my Instagram where you ask AI to show you a white couple, and it refuses. You ask it to show you an Asian couple, and it says, I can't show you, but I can describe it to you. You ask to show a black couple, no problem. Endless images. I can't. When I tell you that,
it's a formalization of the stupidity of Google.
But can you even believe that we're here? Can you even believe that? Like, if I told you that 5 years ago it was going to be like that, would you have any thought that it was like that? That it's just that our biggest platform in the world, our biggest resource in the world is just openly racist, and it's somehow being justified? That's got to tie in with the whole broken science thing, broken thinking. Is there going to be an arm called broken thinking?
My father rallied against postmodern science my entire adult life. And I used to rib him and joke that no, it's a post-rational epoch. And my joke was the truth.
Right.
We're in the 2 + 2 = 5. My mom has a big old hairy cock, and Dad's getting pregnant. And what are you laughing at?
Hey, I saw medical schools trying.
That's how far off we are. What's next? You're there. You're in Alice in fucking Wonderland.
I can't remember. I just saw an article that one of the medical schools is proposing to have all of their students take a course on men getting pregnant.
Of course. I love it.
But these have to be connected, right? Once you can start thinking clearly in one area, you can be like, okay, like the coin flip thing is I think is a huge signpost, right? Because it's like, hey, practically it is 50-50, and we can do the study with your kids. You can keep flipping the coin, but don't make the mistake of jumping to some conclusion that that's the truth.
There's an infinite number of teachable moments that are all around us.
Mhm.
And what's cool is that to appreciate a philosophy of science that works. Bacon said that he's considered by many to be the kind of the father of modern science. But Bacon said that the scientific method would reduce all wits to a level, which is a really remarkable thing. And the philosopher David Stove said that after 400 years of unprecedented scientific discovery and advancement, a person of average intelligence would have acquired a philosophy of science that he said could be understood even by a drongo, which is an Australian term for a fool, for an idiot. It's a bird that's common there. And it's true. And one of the things that we want to do in this seminar coming up here is what's missing from the discussion is a useful definition of science, something that a drongo could, something does reflect Bacon's observation that the scientific method would reduce all wits to a level. And it looks like this, that the process begins with observations, which is a registration of the real world on our senses or sensing equipment. You tie an observation to a standard scale with a well-characterized error, plus or minus an inch, plus or minus 15 degrees, that kind of thing. And it becomes a measurement. We can call that, at that point, a scientific fact, any measurement. That is an observation tied to a standard scale with a well-characterized error. And if you tie that measurement to a future unrealized measurement or fact as a prediction, you have a scientific model. And that model finds validation in its predictive strength. And there's so much there. And the predictive strength of the scientific model, the theory, exists entirely independent of any methodology. So regardless of how you came up with it, its predictive strength it does define its legitimacy or validation.
And so back to the coin thing, there's an important distinction there, because you could build a great model around flipping a coin.
We have, and it starts with assume a fair coin. And I said before, that takes all the physics out of it. When we assume a fair coin, what we do is we assume I still know nothing about it.
Okay.
What do you do? Suppose you flip a coin 1,000 times and you get 700 heads.
Mm-hmm.
You can assume it's still a fair coin?
No.
What's your next guess? Is it 50-50? Or are you going to go off the past guesses, the past efforts?
The past efforts, I would.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. And then you find out that the cone's weighted slightly differently.
Because Susie, you'd use your own discernment.
Well, I looked at it, and it's 7 out of 10 times I flipped this bad boy and I got head. So logically, I'm going to assume that.
And it wasn't the first 7 out of 10, but 1,000 in, I'm like, I know I have doubts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the guy we had on the show. He's been eating raw meat now for 1,000 days, including raw chicken, raw this, raw that, and people are still telling him he's going to die from salmonella. And I'm like, how the fuck is anyone telling you that? Dorky meme guy, just eating raw meat. All his eczema and everything went away. His shit was so bad, Greg, that he could only wear a t-shirt once, and it would be covered in blood. Went to just a straight raw meat diet, and that shit went away. And people are telling him, hey, you're going to die. People at Whole Foods accosting him, telling him he's going to die from bacteria poisoning. It's like, dude, like, didn't you just see he's done it for 1,000 days?
Yeah, I think
like leave him alone. He's fine. You're not going to run across the freeway 1,000 times and not get hit. You are not. No fucking way. No man can do that.
Might get hit 5 times.
Greg, this guy.
You leave rice out. You eat old rice. You're unlikely to get sick. You eat rice contaminated with enough of the right thing, and I don't care who you are, you're fucked.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's nice to take some simple precautions to just eliminate that kind of thing, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's what he was saying. He did too. He said that he's like, I don't go to Walmart and just pick up chicken.
Yeah.
Like, I'm make sure that I'm getting chicken that's natural and
the chickens he eat are little. They've been grown, free range. You know what I mean? He's not eating these big giant fucking Safeway chickens raw.
Yeah.
For the most part, though,
he's garbage or anything.
For the most part, though, but he says he has, and he's never even come close to having a stomach ache or anything. Whereas, Dr. Phil's like, hey, you shouldn't even touch chicken with your hands.
And you can't eat eggs on my
chicken.
shit.
Hey, how about this? How about this guy? This guy is the CEO of Kellogg's, a cereal that's well documented that was supposed to stop masturbation. So, did you know about that history, Greg? That's why that guy. Yeah. So this cereal was supposed to stop masturbation, and here's the CEO of Kellogg's. Check this out. This guy's basically shitting on your previous life's entire work. Here we go.
The category has always been quite affordable, and it tends to be a great destination when consumers are under pressure. So some of the things that we're doing is first messaging. We got to reach the consumer where they are. So we're advertising about cereal for dinner. If you think about the cost of cereal for a family versus what they might otherwise do, that's going to be much more affordable. The other places that we like to go is we talk about making sure we have the right pack at the right price in the right place. So having a different size pack that'll have a different price point, that'll take some pressure off the consumer while they're shopping. So those are some of the things that we're doing. But in general, the cereal category is a place that a lot of folks might come to because the price of a bowl of cereal with milk and with fruit is less than $1. So you can imagine why a consumer under pressure might find that to be a good place to go.
Right. I'm all for innovation and marketing, but the idea of having cereal for dinner, is there the potential for that to land the wrong way?
The cereal category.
Oh, we don't get to see how he answered that. Damn.
Just try it. It's fun to have breakfast for dinner sometimes.
CEOs Gary Plinick, appointed in October of 2023, has a tenure of less than a year. Total yearly compensation is $4 million, 19% salary, 80% bonus. This guy's fucking pushing diabetes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If the consumer feels pressure, they can. If you can't afford real food, eat cereal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not bothered by it.
You're not. Talk to me. Tell me how you're not bothered by it.
That's funny. That's where I was going to go to.
Tell me.
Yeah. I don't know, compared to what?
You're just like, hey, free markets, let it roll. But you still wouldn't recommend anyone eat cereal for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
No, or probably listen to anything that you'd hear that guy on. Who heard that message and where? But look, is there anyone with half a brain functioning that doesn't know this has not been the internal discussion at Kellogg's for 100 years? And so now we're stupid enough that we can hear what they say inside.
Right. What can we do so that cereal's not just for breakfast?
I remember, no. David Letterman went into a donut shop when he used to do these on the street things, and these Asian cats who run the donut shop, and he's asking, what's the recommended daily? What's recommended? What's the RDA on donuts? This guy's, it's 5, maybe 6 every day is what you need.
That's
of course he does. I think this guy's a fucking asshole and poisoning everyone. He's selling fucking donuts. The fucking asshole is anyone that thinks this is the guy should be giving you an RDA.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it. Like, are we surprised that the CEO of the cereal company is telling you to eat and buy more cereal? Like, where's the shocker there?
Basically, he's
They
trying
got-
to make it so you don't feel weird if you have cereal for dinner. That's basically what he's doing.
A lot of people do it already.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. You don't have to tell everybody. It's okay. To do it.
People who are under consumer pressure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, consumer pressure. Yeah, and it's
People
funny.
who are under consumer pressure. It's okay. You can eat.
To stop masturbation.
This meant vegetarianism is also meant for combating what's considered the debilitating scourge of masturbation. As scholar Vern L. Below writes, Kellogg's was an inheritor of the 18th century tradition, which held that masturbation led to a host of ailments and then insanity.
Well, I got to tell you, you know what? Load up a
Tell
bowl
me.
of cornflakes with milk and some chopped up strawberries and hold that bowl and scrape that shit down and try jerking off at the same time. It's harder than smoking a joint, rolling a joint, drinking a beer, and driving a stick shift. So there's probably some truth to it.
That you're right. That is easier. I've done all that. The latter.
Yeah.
Mastered that.
When both hands are being used, what are you gonna do?
Right.
Damn.
Look, I don't expect the fucking guy from Kellogg's to come out and give you some fucking nutritional advice.
He's not paid to do that.
I think he earned his bonus.
He's sitting there signaling humanity on a massive platform, and that's what the WHO should be worried about, if anything.
Yeah.
Not that I'm suggesting they should censor him, but it's insanity to
Well,
recommend
Listening to him is.
Well, yeah. Hey, but a lot of people still think Kellogg's is healthy.
I'd rather you eat. I think you'd be healthier eating cereal hand over fist than reading the New York Times.
Well, you'd be doing less damage to the world. The people who read the New York Times are definitely doing more damage to the world. That's a good point. God, what a shit rag.
I enjoy it.
Oh my gosh. Hey guys, I gotta run. I gotta be down at fire station number 4 this morning. So just wanted to come on and hang with you for a little bit.
What are you bringing a workout to him, Matt?
Yeah, so today, that's exactly what we're doing. Today we'll do some just kind of rehab mobility stuff with them, and then we'll do a little strength training session at the fire station. And yesterday I was down with about 20 of their academy recruits, and we kind of just went over some basics of their squat, hinge, overhead press. We scanned them, got their skeletal muscle mass, their body fat percentage, so we have a nice baseline. We went over a little quick mobility assessment to see if there's any glaring holes that'll come up for potential injuries, and did that with them today. And now I'm with the actual firefighters at their fire station.
We'll enjoy that. It's good work, man.
We're going to be doing filming with them soon, right, Matt?
Yeah. I'm going to talk to the guys today and see if we could get a camera in there so we could start filming and showing kind of exactly what it is that I do and how it helps them out and stuff.
Super cool.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Thank
Caleb,
you.
You've said next to nothing this morning. How are you, kid?
Bye, guys.
Great. I'm really enjoying my time with you. It was fun.
Good.
His word count is way up. Greg, I don't know if I'm gonna ruin this story, but Sousa had a really good contract with the fire department or with the fire academy or some fire organization there, and then the leadership changed, and he thought he was gonna lose it, right? And they came in and they re-signed him up, and he goes way above and beyond. He shows up there more often than they pay him. He does more for them than they ask for. And one day the new captain came in and just gave him an enormous bonus on his contract just because he saw him in there going above and beyond. It's a great story of what's it called? The dude shows initiative. It's why, you know what I mean? You only are going to be, what's the saying? You're only going to get successful if you do more than you're paid for. Successful people only do more than what they're paid for.
Yeah, over deliver. That's where your market edge comes from. Orange County Fire Authority, within several years of being in the academy there was a significant reduction that more than covered the cost of the program in their workman's comp in that single metric.
What was the program? They were
Orange County Fire Authority.
and their CrossFit program.
Yeah, it was the training academy for all fire departments in Orange County.
And you just had like a L1 trainer or somebody go out there and just train them for a couple times a week?
We did seminars with them over and over and over again.
That's awesome. It's kind of like what you see them doing it with Dave right now, where he's going into the Army units and starting to teach them the elements of movement. And I can't imagine the impact that'll have on the military healthcare system, because I can't tell you. So I used to work in the military healthcare system, and you just have endless amounts of like, oh, I have low back pain, my knees hurt, my shoulders hurt, and all this other stuff. And you just have people who they're not taking care of themselves. They don't know how to take care of themselves, and they have no way of implementing. They just don't have the infrastructure for it, and they don't teach people. So,
well, they've reached a CrossFit and the NSCA and the military have reached a compromise. And I think what they're going to do is implement CrossFit and probably eventually call it NSCA. and Dave and Ben will Roger up because because they believe in the mission, and however they get the material is good. Who cares what you call it?
So there's a competition there, the NSCA between the NSCA
Well,
and CrossFit.
CrossFit was dangerous until you took the name off of it. Now they're implementing.
So they're not calling what they're doing there CrossFit?
No.
Wow,
that's interesting.
And the company's excited by it because there's a little revenue associated with it. I mean, wow. Who's going to have the balls to stand up to someone as high ranking as the guys that I did and go, look, dude, your fucking goggles say Oakley, your boots say Danner, your fucking sidearms got a brand on it, but you take the CrossFit off of shit, It's not
what
an
are
integrity issue.
This
was higher ranking Marine personnel. It was explained to me that they couldn't call it CrossFit because they couldn't promote the brand. And I said, the brands of everything you use are all around you.
Cry precision.
And you're not taking the brand off. You're not removing Oakley from the goggles.
Yeah.
Look, that looks like a Beretta. Is it?
You remember
those Danner boots? They've got tags on them that say, so why are you taking the CrossFit off of shit? I don't care if you do or not. I had a guy explaining to me that they couldn't do that and then pointed out the window from his general's headquarters, the beaver boxes out in the yard.
Yeah, the BIRTHFIT stuff.
And I'm like, I think you're promoting a brand out there.
That was sprouted from CrossFit, basically.
Yep.
Of course.
Yep.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, every gym is outfitted. Yep. Every gym is outfitted with Rogue stuff or BIRTHFIT on the outside. Like shit, when I was deployed, everything there was Rogue or assault bike, or everything was something that sprouted from CrossFit. That's fucking crazy.
Hey, the same thing happened with NASA. Do you remember that event, Greg?
They weren't going to use the word CrossFit. I told them, okay, that we won't announce the fuck you in your space station. And they said, okay, we will. I said, okay, we'll do it.
Yeah, that's a great story.
What happened? You were a partner.
We were told we couldn't contract with the Army without doing GSA. We started going through the GSA process. I go, fuck this. And
What's
then
GSA?
General Abrams, General Services Administration, and what you have to do is have a compliance officer, and it obligates you administratively to an enormous burden just to deliver do the same thing we've been doing all along. So I told General Abrams we will participate in no such thing. We'd rather not have the business than be like this. And the Atlantic Dive Supply, who fucked over Tony Blauer, was supposed to be to help us through this thing, steamroll us, streamline the process of the GSA application. And I said I wasn't going to do it. We're not going to do the GSA thing. Sorry, we're not going to sit top heavy with admin like that. And then General Abrams says, "Oh, okay, I'll just write checks." And he did. He wrote is a U.S. Army checkbook. So he'd buy 20, 30, 40 certs at a time for 60 guys at a time and write checks for it.
Wow.
God, it's so cool that you stood up to that
You
shit.
got all these rules and regulations, but the generals can at some point do anything they fucking want. I know the general at Fort Hood Grimsley was shut down the base, and the main drag on the base, and they were doing PT in the road to get everyone's attention. And thousands of cars were going up and down that thing. He'd shut it down for an hour and do PT out there. And I said, "Isn't that going to be a problem?" And he says, "It would be a dereliction of duty for anyone in DC to pay any attention to anything I'm doing for fitness." In other words, we were past the point where anyone cared, which was really cool. And he too could write checks.
It was the CrossFit Games, and they were going to start the games from the space station. The guy was going to go
That's
say
correct.
3, 2, 1, go. Yeah,
But he couldn't say CrossFit.
and so Greg and Dave told him, "Okay, fine, then we won't use you." And then they're like, "Okay, we'll do it."
Wow.
But
We could do
we
a
don't
whole
even really
show just on our visit to NASA.
say that again.
We could do a whole show just on our visit to NASA.
Hey, how underwhelmed were you by that visit? I was seriously underwhelmed.
I just wanted to hear the story about the shuttles blowing up, like the inside gouge on that. And so I got that.
Yeah.
They tell you about the O-ring or whatever it was that was like overexpanded or
No, there's this.
Yeah.
When the one blew up, they knew, but the one that blew up over Texas, the second one,
With the
the
teacher?
sonic boom. No, that was the first one.
Oh,
The sonic boom was late, and so everyone knows before anyone knows. Like the lateness of it means that it's no longer there, and so they're like 3, 2, 1, boom. Nothing. And you don't even need more data. The thing was coming in hot, and now it's not.
Holy shit.
And so what they did was have to, because all the families there with the balloons and everything, and so they had to empty out all of the NASA employees. All go downstairs, and the grief team comes upstairs and breaks the news to everyone. So it was interesting, sad, horrible thing.
if you have a GSA contract, you have to have a grief team.
You have to have a compliance officer. I mean, you've got to, you got to be doing things right.
According to
You have to
them.
have with the right genitalia and skin color for every mission.
I was gonna say, I know that I wonder if CrossFit has to deal with that. I wonder if CrossFit has to send a certain amount of like.
It obligates you to check, and yet you can't make any kind of discernment from the check. So you need a certain number of women, but we pulled their pants down, and he's got a cock. And you're like, maybe that's still a woman. You don't know. The thing's really tough.
You can't do that. That's illegal. You can't be like, okay, the government says I gotta have 5 women. You're gonna have
I
to
don't
pull
know.
down
Eva told me they used to do dick checks.
Oh, at the Olympics?
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that what the urinalysis is? They just take a gander real quick. You're like,
I don't know. It's gotten now that mommy has a cock, I'm not paying attention. There's no point in listening. Everything's possible.
What do you think about that new lunar lander, Greg? The one that they just put on.
Yeah, was that ours? We did that?
Yeah, it was a private contracting company in the United States. Yeah.
Yeah, good. And what did they do? They just landed something?
Yeah, I think they just put some experimental stuff up there and said we did it.
My dad was a 22-year signature to the surveyor proposal. He was 22 or 23 years old, I think, on that. And this is in the early and mid 60s. A bunch of young engineers at Hughes were putting robots on the moon.
Hey,
so it sounds like here in 2024 we've approximated some of the technology of 1964.
Took us long enough.
It's pictures like this that get the people talking that this is all fake. I mean, look at that. What is that gold thing?
I think that they supposedly wrap the lander in gold because it's keeps everything temperate inside or something. I can't remember.
Odessa's touched down about 190 miles from the moon's south pole on Thursday, February 22nd, becoming the first private spacecraft ever to land softly on Earth's nearest neighbor, and the first American vehicle to do so since the Apollo mission in 1972. We just got a few new looks at Odessa's epic descent, thanks to 3 photos that Intuitive Machines posted.
It's like, how do you only get?
Look
3
at what
pictures?
I just sent you, Sevi. You and Matt on that.
Oh, is it okay if Caleb pulls this up?
Yeah.
The surveyor program. I sent it to you in your text too, Caleb.
Okay.
Solar panel, planar array antenna. Oh, TV camera. How weird is it that they lost so much of that shit? The surveyor program was NASA's program that from June 1966 to January 1968 sent 7 robotic spacecraft to the surface of the moon. Wow. Its primary goal was to demonstrate the feasibility of a soft landing on the moon with an extraterrestrial body. Wow, that's crazy. The mission called for the craft to travel directly to the moon on an impact trajectory in a journey that lasted 63 to 65 hours. A JPL selected Hughes aircraft in 1961 to develop the spacecraft system. The program cost $500 million.
Whoa.
Is your dad's name in here, Greg?
No, but he was part of the original proposal. He was the youngest member of the team.
That's incredible.
And I remember each of the landings. I mean, I was just before my 10th birthday on that first one. And so for us, the lunar landing was a little bit anticlimactic.
Because you've been following it so long, all along.
Well, I mean, we've had no problem putting things on the moon and making soft landings.
What year was the manned mission? 69?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Yeah, that's so funny. I never thought of that. I guess that's really important, a soft landing, if you're going to send a dude there.
So they did in 3 years. They started the first one in 66 and they landed it 3 years later.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Where did we go? We went to Cape Canaveral. Is that where we went?
The Apollo 12 crew, which landed near Surveyor 3, had grabbed it and brought it back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All 7 spacecraft are still on the moon. None of the missions included returning them to Earth. Some parts of Surveyor 3 returned to Earth by the crew of Apollo 12, which landed near it in 69. I know what my father's contribution to that effort was. He got him to use the lunar landing spot as 00 in the coordinate system. And because the Earth is a geosynchronous satellite of the moon. From the moon, the Earth's always in the same spot in the sky, just like your direct TV satellite. From our position, the moon's constantly moving. It's always in a different place in the sky through the evening and on, right? But from the moon, you look up, from your spot on the moon, you see the Earth in the same spot in the sky always.
Oh, that's a trick.
And so the equations, the math became much, much simpler by using the landing spot, intended landing spot as your 00 coordinate.
Oh, wow.
Greg, where was it that we went? Which space station did we, or which I don't know, what do you call it? Astronaut headquarters, NASA headquarters did we go to?
We went to NASA in Houston.
What's that one called? Kennedy?
I don't know. Yeah, Cape Kennedy. That's the launch area. We went to their headquarters.
Yeah, you know what it felt like to me? It felt really unsophisticated, almost like 1970s, 1960s Russia. The place felt empty. The buildings felt old. The equipment didn't seem very advanced.
They took us through. They preserved all of that command and control for the lunar landing.
Yeah, we went into the command center,
and so that had a very old look to it.
But I mean, even remember the rooms we went into where they showed us their equipment and we got to test some of their like workout equipment out. I mean, it just felt.
Yeah, they have an impossible workout scenario in at the International Space Station. You can't even jerk off.
Yeah.
It creates a harmonic that will rip the wings off the thing. And so that people jerk off and they have men and women, there'll be an alarm will go off. And there's a repetitive movement coming from this part of the space station, and like fire alarm goes off.
You push
They
them
said
out
it like foot tappers, people that just like nervously tap a foot, like the calf raise up, down, jiggling. You know what I'm talking about, guys?
Yeah, totally. Yep.
Yeah.
doing it right
That
now.
movement will show up and set off alarms in the space station.
What if you had an erratic jerk off movement, like 2 fast strokes, 1 slow stroke?
You don't want to set up any kind of harmonic oscillation that amplifies what you're doing and expresses the thing on those extended arms of the space station.
Yeah, he said it would snap those solar panels off, right?
Yeah, it would break the arms of the thing, and you just bust it up. You don't.
Who, me?
Everyone, you got to be careful.
Yeah. Those arms are solar panels, right? I think I remember him saying that.
It's there's a lot on it. Plumbing. The thing couldn't be more delicate, and it's assumed that there's not much force acting on it. You create those forces, and the thing doesn't hold up.
How the hell do they run on those treadmills then? They had they had this they had all these really primitive like looking shocks like you'd see on an F-150 underneath them and shit.
Yeah, and they got them hooked into straps, and it was ridiculous, and it doesn't really work either.
Oh yeah, that's right. They had the guys hooked into straps. Hey, pull that up a second, Caleb. Put treadmill in space. See if it's a mess. I can't imagine anyone uses that.
They
shit.
brought us in because they couldn't make anything work, and they thought we'd have some answer. And we said, what you need to do is send up really, really fit guys and then bring them back.
You know what else?
It's really no different. It's no different than the the ODA, the guys deployed under conditions so austere, so unfavorable that you couldn't do anything but recommend not working out to that phase.
Yeah, you just train them really hard before they go, and then
dude, Jimmy's like, we don't have water, and we've run out of food, and we haven't slept in 4 days. I'm like, well, how about forget the workout?
Yeah, just scrap it. Just try to exist for 4 days.
Right. Get home.
There are no age restrictions for NASA Astronauts Corp. Astronaut candidates have ranged between the age of 26 and 46, and the average age being 34. Candidates must be U.S. citizens to apply for the program. That's probably not true anymore. There are 3 broad categories of qualifications: education, work, and experience, and medical. I think the average age of astronauts has skyrocketed.
Come on, dogs and monkeys have done it.
Right. Good point.
The post that SpaceX made with all the next set of astronauts, so they look old as fuck.
They do?
Yeah. Let's see if I can find it.
What do you think? I wonder if there is some. I wonder why. Do we know why we went to space this last time? Why we went to the moon? Is there some?
I think they're trying to make the moon like another launch pad to go to Mars. That's the idea. It's like if we have a way to get closer, we can use the moon to launch us to Mars. Basically, that's kind of, and so that was.
I'm gonna guess it looks like China and Russia are planning on deploying ICBMs to the moon.
Or how about, wasn't Iran or Iraq claimed the South Pole or the North Pole this week as part of their country?
Why not?
Call or hi? Not call.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning.
I'm just getting able to catch the show now. I was coaching my 9 o'clock class at my gym. So if you've talked about this, I apologize. My question for Greg would be, have you ever heard of the book Ordinary Men, about soldiers and Nazi guards in World War II?
Oh, hold on. I accidentally kicked Greg off the show. Fuck.
Oh, man.
Greg, come back. I saw a second window pop up, and I tried to remove it, and it got rid of both of them. Hold on. Greg, come back. There you go. Hey, that was totally that was my fault. I saw a second window pop up and I accidentally kicked you off, Greg. Sorry. Okay,
Yeah,
go
it
ahead,
might have
caller.
been relaunched. It was Ordinary Men. Have I heard of it?
Yeah. And I heard Jordan Peterson talking about it, and it's about how, we look back at history and how can a regular person do what the Nazis asked these, regular people who were Nazi soldiers, how can they commit those atrocities? And it's just, simple incremental steps that they took. And my question, kind of relating that to the border problem here in the US, is at what point do these border security guards who say they're just kind of following orders, at what point do they say we're not following these orders anymore, we're stopping these people, or we're deporting them, and to hell with the consequences of that? If you had any thoughts on that.
Well, I do, and it probably comes back to the I think that the removal of soldiers from SOCOM and elsewhere, the pressure that my friends at LAPD SWAT are under to get vaccinated, I think those that are leaving, rather than acquiescing, I think that's grooming a police force and military that is ready to go door to door and kick down doors and drag your children out and vaccinate them. I think the process of making monsters of ordinary men is underway. There's no one at SOCOM that I know and respect. There's no one I know in law enforcement that thinks that the quality of the operator is being increased by driving out those that aren't willing to knuckle under to this.
I thought it's interesting that I thought it was interesting that you used the border. What about just the acceptance? Yeah, what Greg was saying, people grabbing people's kids now, the government grabbing people's kids, and us accepting it, and it's happening more and more every single day, faster and faster. And it starts off with a few people saying, "Hey, it's not happening," or it's an isolated incident, or there becomes some justification for grabbing people's kids, and then next thing you know, it's just normal. Hey, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
even look at the abortion
people
issue.
Start to push back.
Even look at the abortion issue, dude. Even look at the abortion issue. For some reason, it's okay to abort a baby.
Yeah, I just saw that there was a quote from one of the top Border Patrol agents. I think it was just this morning or yesterday, an article talking about how specifically Biden and his policies are responsible for American deaths because of illegal immigrants. And it's like, if you know that, when is right, we all knew that, but at what point is it your responsibility to not uphold those unlawful policies?
Hey, dude,
I think Homeland Security ordered the Border Patrol, the Customs and Border Patrol people to resist the Texas National Guardsmen at the takeover of the station there. And I think they refused and gave it to them. Our Supreme Court told Texas they couldn't put up the razor wire at the border. And I think they said, yeah, okay, we're almost finished.
Hey, brother.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I recommend this book right here. It's a comic book. It's called Mouse: A Survivor's Tale of a Survivor's Tale. My Father Bleeds History. It's 2 books. It's an easy read, and it's a story, a true story of a guy in Nazi Germany, a Jew, as the shit went down. And you'll see in the story that basically, as they start just slaughtering these people, they turn on each other. Right. It basically, I always like to depict it as like, hey, we're going to throw 50 guys in a swimming pool, but the surface can only have 10 people at the top. And so no matter who those 50 people are, they fight to the death to be one of those 10 people at the top, and the other 40 drown. I mean, it's horrible. It's a great book, but it basically goes into the psychology as when shit hits the fan, people will do anything. and it's kind of like that right now. Shit's hitting the fan for some people, so they'll do anything. I mean, dude, think about it's just basic common knowledge that eating Kellogg's cereal will kill you, and people are just and give you a lifelong misery with type 2 diabetes, and people are still just consuming it. No one gives a fuck.
But it's got a heart symbol on the box, Sevi.
I know, right? American Heart Association. Hey, it goes back to the discernment. It goes back to using your own discernment.
Right.
How about the school? How about the school with the shoot? How about the school with the shooter in it? And the police didn't go in. And hey, and none of the parents ran in either. Everyone just fucking sat there with their thumb in their ass. Yeah. And I kind and it's
I'd imagine if that was your kids, you would have been the first one in there.
I hope so, but fuck, I don't know. I've crumbled under pressure before too. I've felt the pressure of society and not done things.
Yeah, we all like to think we're the hero in the story.
But I've also been somewhere. I've also been somewhere where there's 1,000 people standing around while a woman beats the shit out of her daughter, and I had to run across 3 lanes of traffic, and I was the only person who fucking yanked the mom off the daughter. But that was in Berkeley, California. It's not really that hard to be brave there. You're just dealing with a bunch of pussies. So,
all right. Well, I appreciate the thoughts, guys. Have a good day.
Yeah.
That mouse got great reviews too. I was just, not that the numbers mean a lot to me, but it is interesting.
It's an amazing book. I think it won the Pulitzer. It's great. You bought this for me, Greg.
Yeah, it's well known. It's a great book.
For me. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna see you soon. I'm seeing you on the on the 4th.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for dealing with my scratchy voice.
Thank you, everyone. How you feeling? You sick?
I'm better. I'm significantly better, but I've been taking a lot of like just shit like Robitussin, and like I've been snorting Sinex like I'm a fucking coke fiend, and but
the good shit.
Cheating.
Cool,
hey, I'm about to go to Silver Spur.
I'm jealous.
Hey, what are you doing? Where are you, and what are you doing?
I'm in Telluride. You can't see out the windows, huh?
No. Is it is it Telluride or Telluride?
I hear Telluride.
Telluride, okay. And what are you doing there? Kids are skiing, or?
Kids are skiing. They're out on the slopes right now.
Wow. And you're gonna hang.
We got to see Leaf, hang with Leaf and Danielle.
Already?
Yeah, a couple times.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, super cool.
How's the
town? That's Mount Ajax in the bottom, 12,000 feet. I see it right out the window. You can't. There's something on the image here, and it was interesting. Before I got into the studio, just on the regular laptop image, you can see the mountain behind me perfectly in perfect form.
The place looks beautiful. Hey, so that's just a little tiny town nestled in like a little canyon?
Buddy, I'm telling you, man, these Jackson Hole, Vale, Aspen, they're all kind of the same.
Do you like
it?
In a good
way.
Is it cool? Jackson Hole's pretty commercialized. Is this a little less commercialized? I got the impression this is more small town.
It's liberal. It's gay ski week.
Oh, is it really? Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my. So it's like your own genitalia ski week.
Yes.
That's fucking unreal. That's unreal. Did you know that going up there?
Oh, I know.
Did you go there for gay ski week, Greg? I won't judge you.
The timing's perfect. The timing's perfect. I'll blend right in that way.
Oh man.
Everybody will just think you're like an old gay man.
That's right.
Man. Oh,
I have seen more dudes with long gray ponytails. And then the chicks all have short hair, right?
Yeah. The bob cut. And they're missing all the dudes are missing hair up here, but they've got the horseshoe and the ponytail out back. That's right.
I don't mind gay week in San Francisco, but why does that why does it needs to? Jeez.
I don't mind it anywhere.
I do.
And someone was grousing to me about when Rosa Parks became conflated with RuPaul, and I had to tell him I would not support a system that makes the tranny sit at the back of the bus.
No, neither would I. But here's the thing. Like, I don't think it should be outlawed or anything. I just don't want to support it. I don't want to support.
Well, of course I don't know. I also am not interested.
Yeah. I don't want any of my resources going to having a party for any sex week anywhere. That's what bars are for, or whatever. Go to school and meet a girl or meet a guy. There doesn't need to be butt fuck on the weak slopes. Sorry.
I also don't want to distort or complicate the miracle of the difference between sexes.
Right.
It's an amazing thing, and it's rudimentary to everything important about us.
Why don't we have gay week at the border? We only let in gay people, and we only, hey, that's something I could almost get behind. No pun intended. I'd rather let in gay people than straight people. How's that? That's how against gay people I am.
If I could make every male in the world gay, I'd have already done it.
Right. Well, you could get a job at Kellogg's. All right. Thank you, Greg. Have a good one. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you,
See
guys.
You soon.
Everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Good to see you, Greg.
Ciao.
Good to see you.
Did you kick him or did I kick him?
You did.
Oh.
I don't kick anybody.
You don't kick Greg out?
Definitely not Greg. Did you see this thing from Raven Simone? Do you know who Raven is? Raven Simone?
A singer?
No, she was like an old I think it was Disney Channel. She used to have a show called That's So Raven.
No.
It was like my age group. Anyway.
I only know the Mouseketeers from like the 70s.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, she was on Oprah and she told Oprah that she wasn't African American. She was an American. She's just American. She's like, I know I'm black, but I don't know if I'm not going to claim African because I'm American. And so a bunch of people are just fucking pissed about it. They're saying that, it's like, doesn't she know that she's African? She's like, sure, but like she doesn't know her lineage and she claims to be more American than she is.
Can't you just choose?
Yeah, right. But her black fans are pissed that she said that she's not African American. But everybody else is like, duh, you're American.
Raven Simone. I'm going to look her up. That'll be great for the next show. I think there have been openly gay male athletes in the games.
Yeah, the Roots.
The guy also, I can't remember his name. I think it's Nuna Costa. I think that dude won the gay games.
The gay games?
Yeah, the gay games. I can't remember who went and filmed that. The gay games. There's some funny jokes around the gay games. Like, how do you prove you're gay? I wonder if they have that problem, like the neuromuscular division. Okay, let me see. Are you retarded or not? Let me see. Are you gay or not? Oh yeah, Alex Smith. Alex Smith is openly gay?
Yep. Meredith Root. Alex
Parker. I want to see some openly straight athletes. I want to see someone play tonsil hockey with Alexis Raptis.
We should have Taylor go to the games and say, hey, I'm the first openly straight athlete to go to the games.
I don't think Taylor's. I need proof that Taylor's straight. I'm not even joking. Oh yeah, Con. We have openly bi athlete, Con Porter. Yeah, there you go.
True.
Noah Olson. He's not gay or straight. He's non-binary, abstinent. First abstinent. Yeah, abstinent athlete. I can't see. No, hold on. Let me close my eyes. No, I can't see Noah having sex.
Nope. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Nope.
He probably just lies very closely to his mate.
Noah is not a poop stabber. Not at all. He's asexual. That is not true. I could see Pool Boy though. Yeah, I could see Pool Boy doing some gay shit. Oh shit! I saw him doing gay shit with me, and when I closed my eyes, I'm not gonna close my eyes for. I'm not gonna close my eyes for a week now. That was like some Freddy Krueger shit. I was closing my eyes trying to get Pool Boy to do some gay shit, and it was me who was doing it too. Fuck that. Wow, I got to be careful. I got to talk to my editor.
He's stabbing your poop in.
I opened my eyes before we got there, but I think it was going there. I think I was going to take one for the
Cradling
team.
the balls a little bit.
Yeah. All right. I don't know what I want to tell you. I got to make the news today. The news is going to be great today. I want to give you guys the mayhem empire and Dave Castro have declared war on each other. It's just open war.
It's always fun.
Yeah. So that's really just latent homosexual suppression. Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna close my eyes and see if I can see Dave and Rich. Oh yeah, quick! I just closed my eyes and I can see him in the 69 right away.
Angelo in the corner watching.
They're laying on a bear rug. They're Rich killed. They're pouring olive oil all over each other. Holy shit! Wow, I didn't even know I could visualize. Ken Walters clickbait. Ah, yes, but true clickbait. No, Haley didn't declare war on Mayhem, but we got shots being fired over the bow. Big stories, big news day. Big news day. And hey, that'll just leave more room for me to film, more access for me at the games. There's also there's a great video that speaking of Mayhem Media just put out. They did that Heart of Mayhem 1, and now they have a Heart of Mayhem 2. It's about this chick Summer. This is really good.
Better than the last one?
Yeah, significantly. I think it's significantly better than the last one. Sevi, you have really thought this through. Sounds like not the first time you thought about it. I'm gonna chug some Castro olive oil now. Hey, so are the implications that they're teaching CrossFit to the Army, but they're not calling it CrossFit?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's kind of what Greg was getting at.
Someone needs to ask Dave that.
Because I want to say that Dave, like they're wearing, what is it called? Like Apex shirts. They have those shirts that say Apex on them or some shit. They're like, they're not going around in seminar staff garb. They're going around in this.
Oh, Dave already talked about it. Clock says Dave said as much. So yeah.
Said as much. No, maybe. I don't know. I haven't looked that close into it.
Oh, Facundo, and we got an openly gay coach.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. Openly gay. I'm gay, but I'm just not openly gay. I'm really the unicorn. I'm gay, but I'm not openly gay. Oh my God. So I'm gonna have to go to this crazy breakfast place right now, and I'm not gonna eat anything because I don't want my sinuses to get all fucked up. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be careful what I put in my mouth. But this place has like the meat lovers omelet, and there's gonna be pancakes, and
Oof.
there's gonna be fat motherfuckers everywhere just chowing. My kids are gonna be chowing.
Sounds amazing.
I'm so old, I'm not even like sexual anymore. We don't want pre-recorded episodes. We want live ones. Seriously, you guys, listen. Are you fucking serious? Listen, you don't think the news is cool? I just sit here and I just read off 10 things real quick. It's going to be cool soon too, because it's going to look like a news show. I'm setting up another part of the studio, different camera angles, a different sign. I'm waiting for you guys to buy me a new news sign. And they'll be like, it'll go back and forth between me being little on the side up here. Like, it'll be like, you know what I mean? They'll be like, when I talk, I'll be, like, let's say Caleb's the news. I'll be over here talking and it'll pop up, but there'll be all these cool graphics around me and shit. Selling you Paper Street coffee and Matuthian. Oh, my Matuthian came. I'm stoked. I don't like the lid on the Matuthian, and I don't know if I'm ready to tell Dale that yet, because they got it out so quickly and it's beautiful. I don't know when you give the feedback. I don't know when you're like, hey, I don't really like the lid.
What's wrong with the lid?
It's like a child safety lid. And so I don't care that it's child safety. Yeah, you have to press and turn, but it's like a little loose. And maybe he's going to be like, hey, we had to do that so it actually seals. So it's better than other lids because then we get an airtight seal. I'm not sure what he's going to say. But I don't like to the hand. And I'd like it to be just a tiny bit more salty. But man, it's so good. I'm not being a pussy, dude. Listen, my wife says talking to me is all about timing. It's just I just want to time it right. I just want to time it. I mean, they just killed it. It's killing. Get some feedback on it first. Has anyone else gotten theirs? Yeah, your charcoal and eggshell should arrive tomorrow. Yeah, I love mine. I just got mine yesterday. I ordered it like the rest of you fools. I went online. Yeah, so you like it's my only news outlet. Also dig the Sevi After Dark feel. I like putting in stories like the double toilet and shit too. I need to put in some more like Trump stories, but there's so much good CrossFit news. I try to keep it Andrew has a rule for me between 9 and 15 minutes, basically.
The Sevi After Dark that explains it well. I like that's.
Yeah. You ordered both flavors. Hey, I got the peppermint flavor. I didn't get the regular flavor. I need to get the regular flavor. I think I would prefer the regular flavor. I would have never said that tooth powder leaves your mouth feeling minty fresh, because mostly it just makes your mouth feel really clean. But they used peppermint oil, and it actually kind of gave me a little zing. Oh, Jeremy World, great question. When is the Dildo scene coming out? Riley asks, why does the CrossFit website suck so bad? I could answer that, but I want to do the behind the scenes next year. All right. I think there's some shit happening today. Oh, here, God, Thursday is going to be fucking crazy, you guys. Do you guys know about Thursday, how chaotic Thursday is? I need to make a news show just on the Open and tell you all the crazy shit that's happening. Basically, Thursday before the Open, we're going to go live. And then the Open's going to happen, and they're going to do some sort of workout, and then they're going to do the Open. So that's going to be kind of interesting. I hope they pull that off. I hope that's not a shit show. And then after that, we're going to go live on the Sevan Podcast, but also listen to this. We're going to go live because Bryson's going to do a workout, and Dallin and Taylor are going to watch it, and I'm going to be there too. And we're going to test the cameras and talk, and they're going to talk shit. It's basically like a face-off, but we're also going to get to see Bryson do it. Bryson's the guy who wears the giant fucking Craig Ritchie shirts when he works out, like his dad. He's wearing his dad's night shirt. And then, but at the same time, Pedro, don't tell anyone this. I don't want anyone going over and watching it, so don't share this with anyone. But Pedro is going to be live with Tia Toomey. And Get With The Programming's doing something. Oh my goodness.
Busy.
And then Friday night, you guys are going to have a horribly tough decision. I feel so sorry for you guys on Friday. Friday, on one hand, you're going to have the Lone Ranger podcast and Rad doing something with the Open. But on the other hand, you're going to have Taylor versus the world. Oh, my God.
Do you think they're just going to set up a camera and just start filming people doing the Open, just random people?
I don't know what they're going to do, but
Mwomp, mwomp.
I love myself some Savage Ones. I love it. Thank you. All right. Easy choice. I'm watching Danielle Brandon. Is that who they're having? Danielle Brandon. Good call.
Woof.
You run over there. And you watch those. You watch those Danielle Brandons. We'll be over here holding down the fort with the savage ones. All right. See you guys. Oh, no. Is there? I feel like I'm forgetting to tell you guys something. Whatever I forgot to tell you, I'll tell you on the news, which is coming soon. Okay. Bye-bye.